Hello. Things look a little different. Things are going to look way different in 2027. So I figured, hey, why not just start out a little bit topsy-turvy, totally, tremendously topsy-turvy is what things are going to be like at first. And this is probably enough of that. People starting to arrive. Thank you for being here. Essentially, this is me. I spoke about me yesterday. I'm pretty much a total mutant, with the exception of the 59.6. Mutant being, of course, synonymous with individual, individual being appropriate to discuss because we're moving into the era of the individual and how exciting that will be for me and all individuals who have uh, experienced the freaky side of life and have been the odd ones. And now we're walking in with like a +1 bonus. Um, Here to teach people how to be themselves, really, because that's really what is going to be so heavily called for when life, the universe, everything wants you to be you. And it's kind of like when you're growing up and you're a child hiding behind the pants of your parent, and you're like peeking out, but you have the stability of your parent that you can hide behind. And that's kind of like what it was with the tribe. Of course, you were hidden, but you had the support of the protection of the tribe. You had the support of the frameworks that didn't let you fall too far. Safety nets and such, and all the different programs that help people stay afloat when they're having trouble. All of the um, benefits of a society that cares for its citizens. Because, of course, that's not everywhere. And that's also not uniform wherever it is offered. So, but that stuff is going to start going away, and you're going to be needing to be more self-sufficient. And the self-sufficiency, um, comes into play by you being your unique self. What can you offer that's uniquely you? Especially as we go into this world of AI, because I have a totally different view of how AI is going to fit in and how it's going to be used, how it's going to need to be used, and how it's not going to be. And there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of uncertainty with anything that's new. Fear is like present, you know, first and foremost. We get scared of the unknown, and we're walking into a total unknown, sort of. It's not going to be immediate overnight, so it's not going to be like all of a sudden there's no gravity. Good luck. It's not going to be like that, but it's going to be moving quickly in that direction and then become whatever it ends up becoming. But and including the new beings, we're not even getting into that with the raves and the new life forms that we'll be uh, cohabitating with, and sort of like the new hominids or new we're the Neanderthals in that particular um, environment. But we're going to go into that. This whole thing is now the AI component, and I'm super stoked to share this with you. So let's move on. Or move into it. So this is day 4, right? And just a recap, we are in the cross of planning. It's the current era. It began in 1615, soon to be obsolete. Uh, the previous cross, the current cross, heralded a time when logic and experience reigned supreme. After all, this is a time that's been dominated by the collective, and logic and experience, or logic and abstract, which is oftentimes synonymous with experience, are keynotes of the collective. So the way that we addressed global issues and all the way down was logics predicting the outcome by extrapolating the pattern, or the abstract side of the collective circuitry, which was adhering to how things were solved in the past using the wisdom of past experience, and in some cases dogma, to arrive at a satisfying outcome. Works a little differently in religious institutions, which are can be more tribal than collective, but it's still far-reaching. Tribal experience is also a thing via the defense circuit, namely the 5027 or 2750, if you prefer, which deals with uh, the, the tribal laws, biblical law, religious doctrine, honoring lineages or not. But it's worth noting that there's no official tribal representative to add to logic, experience, and instantaneous knowing, or conceptualizing. And when you think about it, faith doesn't require any of those. It totally operates differently. And I discussed that briefly in day two, the video on the gate 55, which is the gate of spirit, and it embodies the capacity for deep faith. So we'll put a link somewhat to that now or later. But yeah, so just sort of recapping that part. And so knowing is, on the other hand, works differently. This is the type of knowing where you can't show your work. It's not widely recognized, often associated with religious authority figures. You know, it's for the most part, if it does exist in society or where it's accepted, it's really relegated to those who've reached a certain level of authority, mostly in religious settings, to get away with it. It certainly was not something that the masses are comfortable with. The masses demand receipts. They want to see the math, the thought process, the scientific method, the hypothesis, that sort of thing. They're not just going to accept a course of action or answer based solely on someone's flash of insight without the proof to back it up, or that it's a repeatable outcome. So many of the inventions of today may have quietly started as eureka moments, but then came the demand to prove the concept through a more methodical process before finally being accepted. So one of the features of the cross of planning was what? Time. Knowing doesn't take time. Experience takes time. Predicting, looking at patterns, extrapolating, predicting an outcome based on trends and stuff, that takes time. Progress required time to create, to hone, to deliberate, to prove, to debate, to test, to get approval, that sort of thing. Logic gave us formulas and models to use, along with time to observe and extrapolate. And abstract gave us wisdom, the value of experience, considering what happened before and what we did about it, and then apply that to our now. Time. And and so yeah, time. So the bigger something is, the slower it tends to be. government is a great example of that. This is how government flourished, along with its red tape, its pageantry, its bullshittery, going through certain motions to get votes, persuading others to agree with your position and whatever your plan was to get something done, shaking hands, kissing babies, making promises, whether or not you're going to keep it. The read my lips, no new taxes. This is how roads were built, deciding where the roads will be. Well, not through here because of the endangered yellow-bellied sneetch, or not there because of a noise abatement concern, not there because experience tells us that blah, blah, blah. So, or not there because there appears to be some soil erosion and we need to observe it over the next 5 years, that sort of thing. Whatever it was, it required logic and experience to move forward. Individual knowing had no place really at the board meeting. Perhaps it could bring everyone coffee, but not seated at the table with the serious folks. Um, I don't know. I got in it's sort of like if you have emotional authority, your sacral still plays a role. You still have the yes, no aperture of your sacral, but it just doesn't it's not to make your consequential life decisions. So it sort of acts as an advisor that may or may not be accurate. It may be accurate in the now, but not hold, which is, the solar plexus takes time, sacral doesn't. And now I hope I'm not confusing you. It's a metaphor. So individual knowing also operates in a pulse. It does not know until it does. It's like nothing, 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 and then big something. Stuck, 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 effing stuck, leap forward. And it doesn't show its work. It's the little birdie's answer whispered in your ear. And again, we're moving into the era of the individual and knowing in the moment, we're really having, it's like a time where our X gene is going to be activating on a global scale. We're still going to have our individual aptitudes, and I'll talk about that later, and our individual callings and what we're here to do. But we are there's something new that's going to be pushing us all forward, whether we're prepared to go forward or not, with more of us, and we're going to have to contend with more of us. And the more work you have done or that you do on yourself before 2027, the more graceful or less turbulent your journey is going to be. And our society is ripe and rife with personal development mimicry and performative spirituality, strategic thinking. If I say this, I can get that. If I present myself this way, I will have more mating success. So strategy, and we're moving away from that. So there's like all these things that are coming, and it's not just that we're moving away from strategy, like we're going to automatically not want to be strategic. It's that it's going to be clownishly obvious when we have an agenda or when what we're communicating is not doing a frequency handshake with what we believe or what we're trying to what our agenda is, what our intention is. That stuff is going to be like super loud volume because more of us is going to be coming online. And that's going to also have a big impact on what's coming down. Our trust for fake ass uh, billboards. It's kind of like when you go to like Universal Studios and you're driving by the lot and you're saying, oh, there's the Psycho House or whatever. And it's just the frame. And then as you pass, you like look at it and it's just this like two-dimensional board with like the two by fours holding it up. And that's what people are going to be. Isn't that fun? That's what people are going to look like who are who haven't done their work. And these are also very successful people. You know, these are people who've made their bread and butter by being charismatic and whatnot. These are also spiritual leaders, maybe you know of some, that have these like mega churches or, you know, I don't aim in a particular religion. All religions are have their um, representatives of that nature because and this is a little bit off topic, but so I won't say it. Anyway. Um, or will I? Maybe later. Um, so anyway, this is what is disappearing. The bigger equals slower. We're moving away. Things are already getting quicker and quicker. Um, so I'll explain the unknowing in a second. By unknowing, I mean more so what is not knowing. Information data is not knowing. So in human design, let me start here. In human design, a feature of individual knowing, like I said before, is when you're in the stuck, I don't know phase, is melancholy. And it's the melancholy of not knowing. And that's why you feel stuck. You're not sure what to do. And there's nothing, you're locked down. It's like you can't make progress and it feels very uncomfortable and you don't know how long it's going to last. There's no guarantee. It's like pulse, no pulse, pulse, no pulse. It could be no pulse, no pulse, no pulse, no pulse. And a lot of that is out of your control. And the part that's in your control is, are you living correctly? If you're living correctly, then when you're stuck, that presumed limitation is actually a protection. And part of human design is getting comfortable with not being able to go to the party or not being invited to the party or what you perceive as the party and that FOMO, fear of missing out kind of thing. Because you recognize, oh, well, as disappointing as hurt as I feel, that just saved my ass in some way. You know, like sort of the concept of when you're late for a meeting and you're behind a car and they stop at a yellow light that you knew both of you could go through and you're like furious, you're freaked out, you know, you're going to miss that meeting or whatever the thing is. You have to like sort of in the moment go, oh, you know, if I had gone through that, maybe I would have been creamed by an 18-wheeler and would have been dead. You know, you're behooved to change your default setting and just from from reactive to curious and responsive. If you are living correctly, then that is your protection. If you are not living correctly, then yes, that could be scary because you don't know. You can't rely on the fact that that was in your best interest or not. So part of 2027 from our perspective, Raquel and my perspective, is not performative human design, really getting into what I'm here to be, not letting your mind just be like, yeah, but let's learn more about that, or let's play in these areas that aren't correct for us to play in, or let's just hoover, vacuum, and hoard human design information and stay as like the most brilliant caterpillar we can be and not butterfly, which is not the point of human design, right? This is an awakening program, not awakening matrix. That's death. This is not, this is like the Cypher take the blue pill. You know, Cypher wasn't a really admirable character. But he was like, I just want a steak and I just want to be, have some recognition and be important or whatnot. What he's asking for is what human design is. Human design is your life's cheat codes that allow you to navigate the Maya that we're in, to to um, experience this um, with the extra benefits of knowing what is correct for you instead of it being just a series of question marks. It's going to be a series of question marks anyway that your mind might chew on or argue with you about. But when you have your strategy and authority and you're earnest about wanting to stay on your best trajectory, then you're going to let the dumb shit fall away. And the trouble with that, okay, or the challenge with that, I should say, is that human embodying human design, the difficulty in doing that and just pivoting to that is wholly contingent upon how not self your life is. You could have created vast civilizations that you're now mired in that your not self got you in. And I'm not even talking about unhealthy marriages and now you're sort of, well, I can't just do that because I have responsibilities now that my not self uh, mind got me hooked into. And for those with abstract circuitry, you know all too well about entering into the right cycle is so critical because it can keep you trapped until that cycle or whatever gets to its conclusion. And leaving it early ain't going to necessarily help. So that's why it's really important to enter into things correctly for everyone, but particularly for people with abstract circuitry. This is a bit of a segue, but underlined three times. Um, so unraveling your not self life and for allowing what is to come, allowing or surrendering to what life needs to do for you in order to right the ship, and understanding that the crazy the crazier your not self circumstances are, the more the less graceful it might be to write it, especially if uh, we go back to the bigger equals slower. If you want to streamline, then that could be very disruptive. And if you want it to be graceful, then you're going to need to modulate how you follow your design, right? But half-assing following your design equals powerless. It's not for that. It's not for weekend warriors. It's not for, I'll just do it a little bit and then see what happens. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work on your schedule. It doesn't work on your mind schedule. It's not a mind thing, it's a body thing. And that's what a lot of people don't get. And a lot of people do get it. And there's plenty to get and not get. So it's not like that's the only thing you need to get. And this is why um, the way that I personally teach and convey and communicate and translate and transmit human design is like my teacher did as a martial art. This ain't a black belt factory. This is not something that you're going to be doing back flips and roundhouse kicks in straight out the gate. You need to balance in it. And the balancing in it is the biggest thing because your mind is going to come all over the place. And how you perceive your mind needs to go through a change, kind of like a neighbor's barking dog to a certain degree, where it's mechanical. You stop taking it personally. There's so many things. Like, this is, it's like I could go into a whole class on this, and that's not what you're here for. So in human design, um, back to the unknowing, trying to think of my train of thought. So back to the melancholy of not knowing. Um, it's not like we are going to all be full-time know-it-alls, but it's also where that unknowing gap may be filled with AI. And of course, we have Google, right, which is our newest version. So people are, or our previous shiny support resource. So people are used to getting fast external answers to things that they don't know about or need clarity on. And so we already have access to a treasure trove of data, um, and a microscopic few of us still deal with the drudgery of having to go to the library and deal with the card catalog or the Dewey Decimal System to find the book and then read the book and then maybe get the answer they were seeking or not. Doesn't that seem prehistoric from where we are now? I mean, and again, that took a lot of time. Okay. So you can see how um, time is becoming, we're going to have a different relationship with time. Things that, and time is connected to space. So we might feel like we have less space and more time or less time, but that can also serve us. So it's just going to be a different relationship with that. Um, so the whole like things that we had at the library, cite your sources, compare and contrast this from that, critique each perspective, all of that took time. And this is where AI is coming in, but with caveats. First of all, let's establish that answers and knowing are not the same thing. Both could be sense felt, and they're often confused for one another. Knowing is more so how you would describe a psychic phenomenon or phenomena, and often like claircognizance, for instance, which will be a big part of what we're going to be doing. By the way, I just want to stop here real quick to just quickly say, if you haven't already checked out our, excuse me, our codex, I think it's pinned to the top of the chat, or I hope it is. And if you're interested in our program, which is not just a program, it's more of a deprogram. But if you're interested in what our offering is, it's a 4-month, 4-phase pilot, and it's our baby, and we're so super stoked and excited about it. The alchemy of what's coming. I hope you can feel it. I hope those who can recognize it feel it, really. If you don't, blessings to you. I hope you find what you need. I truly do. And definitely, I'm not for everyone. Raquel is not for everyone. You are not for everyone. And so we need to find our people. That is what 2027 is going to be about. If you don't have ears for me and you don't see that I can help you, I can't. And I'm not meant to. I'm not on your fractal. But if I am, man, wow. So if you're interested, the first step is doing this codex. It's like a simplified tool. Uh, it's like a little thing, a little taste of what's to come. And if you dig it, there'll be an opportunity to go to our there'll be like a Calendly link where you can sign up to get a 20-minute uh, clarity call with us to see if we're a good fit for each other and that you see if you're interested in going for it. If you're not, If you are, great. If you're not, also great. But if you're not, with caveats, don't stop there. Like, really find something that resonates for you that will prepare you, T minus 1 year and 1 month from now, or 2 months from now. We are going to experience something that will require you to do more than you're doing now, or tidy up what you've been doing, or get a missing piece done before all of your shit gets like spotlit and every amidst everyone else who's banana peeling their shit in front of you. Okay? We need to get right with ourselves. And that's why I came back to why I was talking about personal development mimicry and performative spirituality and all the things that you said to get the thumbs up or the like or the love or the admiration or the dopamine hit. That shit ain't gonna pay off. And it's like, you know what it is? It's like faking doing push-ups at the gym. You know, why? How is that helping? Who's impressed? Nobody. And in 2027, the curtain opens and you're like pushed on stage and it's like in front of a crowd. We all are gonna be like that. I had a freaking we had an embarrassing thing yesterday. I left it into the live because I was like, how perfect. This is what's gonna happen. I'm not immune to it. No one's immune to it. You're going to be seen like we're all like profile twos that think we're hiding. We're all gonna be that. We're all gonna think we're like hiding. I'm hiding. They can't see me. Yeah, sure. Anyway, sorry. Segue. So where was I? The difference between knowing and answers. So I said what knowing is. It's more like claircognizance. It's more of that deep-seated psychic phenomena, right? Now, knowing is wonderful. Answers are nice. Like if you look at like for instance, gate 4, I have gate 4. Gate four's keynote is answers. I have answers all day long. If there's a problem, someone comes, I have the answer. Is it correct? Not necessarily. Feels like I'm great for think tanks because I can offer up all these different possibilities. And but it's not knowing. It's actually part of the logical circuitry. It's based on a pattern. It feels psychic, but it's really more so like Sherlock Holmes. Um, that's under the radar doing like a calculation, you know, like what's a good example? And you might think you're psychic when you're not. You're just like a really freaking rad pattern recognizer without knowing it. And this is what human design also shows you is discernment of what you're psychic for, what you're getting psychic information for, but it's not like a clean read. So there's like a little bit of you in there. So you would never want to hit the ground running because like saying, "Oh, this is you. This is my psychic impression." Okay, dude. Well, it's part of you in that reading, and it's an amplification, distorted. So yeah, you can get like big picture concepts of what they might be working with, but specificity, I wouldn't trust it. When you're totally open, so you have no dormant gates in the chart that are coloring the information you're pulling in, is still an amplification. So instead of like soup for one, you've got like this vat of the soup, and you wouldn't want to go, yeah, they're dealing with this. No, they're dealing with this. And then so the learning edge with that is, okay, I'm psychic in this area. This is what I know. This is the information that I'm pulling from the center. If it's totally open, I'm talking about. And because it's totally open, it also means it's going to take you longer to get right with it because it's going to be different with every person who uh, fills up that center for you. So it's harder to become stabilized in something, at least with a undefined center with dormant gates. it's intermittent, but when it is defined, your experience can lock, or you can have a better way of discerning what's you and what's not you. The more psychic of having it totally open is just more destabilizing and hard ass lessons that you've learned, and it's taken you longer to get to. But even then, because it's more psychic, it's still an amplification. So then the learning is, oh, they're super depressed. Well, maybe if you had an open like solar plexus, oh, or they're super depressed. There's other things there that could, it's just humor me that I'm just talking about one center. So it could be more things that contribute to that with format channels and all that. I'm not going there. I'm just using this as a basic metaphor. Learning that you need to turn down the dimmer switch to arrive closer to what their source material is and not just hit the ground running. Oh, they're ready to commit suicide. No, they're super bummed out, but they're not there. Or the other way, you're feeling super suicidal or depressed, not to make light of that word, okay, but that you're really in a dark place and you have an open solar plexus, recognizing, oh shit, that's not me. As much as your mind wants to make it about you, you know, because you've lived your life and you're looking at your chart and you know, which don't ever just consult that frickin' thing regularly. I don't care how long you've been doing it. Be reminded, you're never going to be able to phone this in. And especially now and in 2027, as everything just starts getting triggered up, all of the mud, all the stuff that's settled down in that swampy thing, where we think we have pristine waters, and then it gets surfed up and it's for our benefit. Now it's for our benefit because it's kind of like, uh, you know, we at least have the benefit of a little bit of privacy in dealing with, diminishing though, obviously. This is, people are banana peeling. But 2027 onward, it's because of the solar plexus, it's just going to be felt. It's going to be what you're leading with. Okay, that's what's speaking. Before your words come out, it's going to be this obvious other thing online that doesn't require the mind to even say something. It's a different thing. And of course, this is all conjecture. This is based on how things are looking, shaping up my own design and lived experience that more people, you know, we got a taste of it. We've got the solar plexus has been in beta testing as uh, a burgeoning awareness center for a while, right? And it's a motor. Keep in mind, it's not just an awareness center, it's a motor. Ajna is not a motor. The spleen is not a motor. So that's just awareness. Now we have motorized awareness. Okay? Let that sink in for a second. It's an engine. Okay? It's not going to just be one of the three. It's going to dominate. Okay? It's going to dominate. And so it behooves us to clean up our stuff, get away from the performative spirituality, get away from the personal development mimicry. Start really looking at your stuff now. Okay? While it's private-ish. Okay? Now, it's going to help with the turbulence. It's going to help with the mitigate the weird looks you get or the dude, you know, that kind of stuff. So anyway, I think I nailed that one. All right, buried it or whatever, drove it home. So back to the logical analysis of the Sherlock Holmes answers. Um, I'll give you an example of this. I have, first of all, with Raquel, I am known in this house as the TV psychic. And for a while, we thought I just am having these really interesting psychic flashes of any kind of plot line. We watch the movie, oh, that guy did it, or that woman did it, or this is what's going to happen next. And it seems like, how could I possibly know that? And then I do have all these knowing places, but I also have answers. I have that gate four, which informs my ajna. And so I've got this kind of like this inner Sherlock Holmes. So imagine if you had a flash of insight when your friend Tony just had lunch at your favorite hot dog place, and you're correct. He did. How did you know that? Wow, psychic. Perhaps Tony thinks you're psychic, when in fact you unconsciously clocked the fact that you saw the most tiny, almost imperceptible mustard stain on Tony's shirt, you know? And you happen to know from your relationship with Tony that he only ever puts mustard on hot dogs. And you might be a really lousy psychic and just be an awesome pattern recognizer. Anyway, Raquel went pretty heavy in this area on day one, so I will leave it there and encourage you to see the day one video, which is awesome. And so I don't want to save over, or this does not replace that by any means. So I want to stick in my lane. I need to stay in this lane. And I'm sure y'all appreciate that. All right, so let's get into just the amount of personal data that we've grown accustomed to be collected from us. We've learned through such exposés as the social dilemma, which, talks about what's collected from us on the thing that starts with an F and ends with a B, sort of, and the whole Cambridge Analytica thing, and how that information was curated and collated and um, not used for our benefit necessarily. So that and that information that's collected about each and every one of us truly is enough to fill a stadium. Okay, let's go over that. I'm going to read this next slide verbatim. Okay, because and before I do, if you would just do me a favor and just receive it. Just don't, you might get sick to your stomach just a little bit, but don't. Like, just recognize what's already out there, okay? And I'm going to really kind of just drive it home. So I'm going to just bullet list it out and read it through it. But I want you to just take it all in and understand. This is what's collected. Every email you ever wrote, every website you ever visited, every post, every comment, everything you ever clicked on, okay? Every contact of yours, what you said, when you said it, your tone, your language, how many exclamation points? Was it bolded? Your sense of humor. What did you think was funny? What do you care about? What makes you mad? What interests you? What inspires you? Everything you lingered over. Every time you hover your mouse like this, right? You're indicating an interest that, oh, they're looking at that. Anything that you magnify. Oh, look at that. Ooh, that indicates interest. There's a metric for that. Every effective sales message. Why? Because you clicked on it, you opened it. They know, oh, there's something there for you. Um, how self-aware you are. Not just that, but how self-conscious are you? Wow, Tina's really ordering a lot of bubble gum, maybe, or a lot of tooth products. Maybe she has a thing of halitosis. Maybe she's really concerned about her breath. Maybe she has a dental thing going on. It's like a metric that's leading them to, oh, maybe this product would be good for this person, and it's all being bought and sold. You are the commodity, all right? So how self-aware are you? What engages you to feel more compassionate or feel anger? What are you engaging with? Literal engagement on social media. What are you sharing? How are you responding? And then if you've noticed, it used to be just that. And now it's, something will show up on your feed and you'll see that one of your Facebook friends liked it. Oh, well, if Tim liked it, oh, maybe there's something here. I want to like it too. It's sort of insidious, right? So it's like, oh, your friends like it. You don't want to be like Tim? What's wrong with you? All right. Um, So, what engages you to feel compassion or anger, or what does none of those things? It's not just what you click on, but what aren't you clicking on also has meaning. Who do you listen to? What podcasts? Who are you subscribing to? Who are you blocking? Where do you go for information? That's really pretty telling. MSNBC, Fox News, Newsmax, CNN, mainstream. Okay. Joe Rogan, um, Lex Friedman, uh, whoever, like whatever, fill in the blank. I mean, I'd be here all day if I gave you everything. So what are your prejudices? What really gets your goat? What are your strengths? Um, Based on whatever metric. What are your blind spots? That's a big one. What are you not seeing? Well, if you're in an echo chamber, you're probably not seeing counter arguments, and you're probably seeing your side make straw man arguments against the other side instead of strong man arguments, which is really where we're moving into is like, you know what? It's not me versus you. If we really truly want to get to the right answer, the way to do it is not to make your thing the false idol and my thing to be the the deity or the thing that's of value. It's really to make your best argument for you. Like I don't want to just reject your thing if I'm smart. Well, I have also a defined ajna. So as we know, undefined ajnas are like they're tasked with not holding concepts like a in a kung fu grip. You can have a position, of course, have a position. You're here to see how the myriad of all the different options and go which one has value. You're not here to lock into something. Of course, temporarily you might lock in because that one is best. But then you are tasked with if new compelling information comes in that says otherwise, you can't ignore that unless you want to keep living not self. You have to go, oh shit. I guess, you have to be informed by it, whereas a defined um, ajna, of course, I can still change positions, but I'm not augmented by other people's ajnas to form my opinions like undefined and open ajnas are hijacked in this area, and then they think it's theirs. They adopt it as their own, and they're probably all in the street marching and all. There's other things too that do that, like undefined Gs, and you become a real fine soldier for someone else's stuff. And if you can't self-police, if you can't look at your chart, you can't actually look at your shit and see where you're vulnerable and not just forgive it or give it permission to just run your show, then if you are that, then you are in for the rudest of awakenings in 2027. Now is the time to recognize what operates in you consistently, which your mind does not give a shit about. It doesn't show up as a voice in your head, and it's what shows up in a voice in other people's head where they're adopting your stuff as their stuff. And we're all like, I wish I had that thing again where I could turn my profile upside down. That's the way we're living. So back to this. Also, who you know and where they fit in to your life. Who do you reaching out at 3 in the morning when you're feeling anxious or have insomnia or the nicer way to say it, amorous, right? Who are your go-to people when shit hits the fan? Okay, so just take that in. So we've got, and that's not everything. Okay, that's not everything, but it's enough. Okay, and it's stuff that you're not privy to. because basically all of that creates a pretty damn accurate and predictive model of who you are. And pardon me, my stomach is loud. You probably can't hear it, I hope. And all of this information is mostly used by advertisers to manipulate you against your will, behind the scenes, into buying something, into voting a particular way, or having sympathy for a cause or sympathy for someone that um, they want you to care about, or hate who they want you to hate. An agenda that you are not privy to, and you are one of these rats who are so have such an attention deficit. You don't need to have ADHD. That's such a like a bullshit thing. We all have it. We all have it. This society is an ADHD creation generator. Okay? Scroll. Like, if I don't get your attention in 3 seconds, I've lost you. What does that mean? I have to bullshit. I have to put something up here so you see it and stay long enough so I can tell you like the real thing. So I have to clickbait you, even if, this is the weird 4426 thing. The 4426, another segue, 4426, the lowest frequency of that is the used car salesman, the snake oil salesman manipulating someone for your ends. And the higher expression is still a manipulation, but it's a manipulation for your benefit. So what does that mean? Well, I might have, I don't, I have to put the salacious thing up here so that I can help you down here because you're such a this kind of thing that I can't get to you unless I can't be boring. Most people can't handle long form communication. I mean, in order to truly understand the problems that we are experiencing in this world, you cannot have any like true nuanced understanding of any of it in a tweet. And if you can't settle your nervous system down to like be able to, and this is where meditation comes in. Meditation is the expander. It allows you what? I'm going to say it. It allows you to be okay with being bored. It gives you boredom flexibility, something that we people of the 1900s had to deal with before the whole internet and cell phones. We got pagers, okay? That's what we got, an Atari, and we loved it because it was better than pots and pans, you know? But that's how far we've come. But we've had plenty of flippin' days of being bored, of the only way that we could get a friend on the phone is if they happened to be next to the phone when we called them. And if they stepped outside to water the lawn, then our friend is basically not home. Or we had to ride our bikes over there and find out the hard way. You know, we had to live with ourselves. We had to look at our shit because we didn't have something distracting us. And now we have a society that is so used to not being bored, and our addiction to novelty is so great that we're frickin' drones and dupes, and we are programmable and hijackable and weaponized against ourselves and each other. We don't have the staying power to look at our shit, and we don't have we're filled with pharmaceuticals and nervous system disorders, and we're kept at red alert. Here's a travesty that just happened. Oh my God, freak out. All these people died and whatnot. Oh my God, this is a cause. We got to get involved. Okay, well, wait a second, because this just happened. Oh my God, so we need to leave this now, and this is the thing that we need to pay attention to. And so that cause has no staying power. Now we're on this cause. Now it's over here. Humans can't stay on red alert. I don't know if you remember when 9/11 happened. Um, but I mean, I know a lot of you remember when 9/11 happened. Stupid statement. But I don't know if you remember when we had codes of we're in code yellow or we're in stage yellow, or everyone was kind of like kept on a stage of alert because there could be terrorists attacking and whatnot. And this is when you know, Homeland Security became a thing and we're giving up our rights to feel safe and whatnot. But before that happened, and in order to get that through, we actually had to feel unsafe. And we wanted to say, well, yeah, here's my privacy. I'd much rather feel like I'm safe than have this privacy. I have nothing to hide. And so here's that. Well, it didn't stop there. And when the threat was over, it's not like you got that anything back. Okay. It wasn't temporary. You didn't like, well, temporarily, we're going to have to be in your shit. And then when the threat's over, we'll like slowly back away and give you your privacy again. Yeah, right. Once it's gone, it's gone. And then like on a monopoly board, you get a house on that property and then it becomes a hotel and it's a whole industry. And it led us to this data capture, which is not even used entirely by government or like to keep us safe, but to manipulate us, to make us hate people, to make us love people we shouldn't love, make us hate people we shouldn't hate, make us do anything, make us vote for this guy. Uh, we're manipulated. And because of the ADHD, and I'm using that loosely, we are programmable. Okay. We're insulated. We don't have control of what shows up on our feed. We might be only shown things that don't show us our blind spots, that don't give the counter argument, or if they do, they give the straw man version of the counter argument. So we think, God, Democrats are fucking idiots. God, Republicans are fucking idiots. They believe this. Oh, Democrats are jokes. It's only because the Democrats aren't hearing the news that the Republicans hear. The Republicans aren't hearing the news that the Democrats are hearing because we're all in our echo chamber. So we're hearing the worst, I don't even want to say the N word that rhymes with Shotsies, but, but that's the thing. The humans are hackable, man. Um, we have, we're really delicate back in the day, or not too far back, but in the 1900s, there'd be debates on both sides. This was a time when news was what was called a loss leader. You didn't make money on the news. Okay. It was done as a check and balance. It was called the fourth estate because it would keep people honest. And then something happened. And those were like the Walter Cronkite days where you could trust what you were being told because there was no hidden agenda. There weren't advertisers. As soon as advertisers came in, now they're making money. Now we're talking about effing with their money. So let's see if Colgate, sorry to, sorry, Colgate, I'm just using you as an example. If Colgate is your sponsor and something gnarly came out about Colgate, you're probably not going to lead with that story if Colgate is the sponsor, okay? And it ain't like Colgate's the only sponsor, okay? And every mainstream media has a sponsor, so you're getting the news they want you to hear, and it's pointed to make the most salacious claims so you think the other people are uh, mentally ill who would ever follow that. How can they? And this is why our country is in the state that it's in. You're getting your news from planet A, they're getting their news from planet B, and nobody self-polices their own team. They all do what? It's called berging, basking in reflected glory. It's about wrapping your self-esteem and your identity in the tribe, in the point of view and the perspective. And then when you find out that someone from your team molested someone, oh, don't talk about that, or don't look at that, or they were engaged in some like gnarly corruption. Are you going to just be like, I will not tolerate this? We need to, clean house. That shit doesn't last. And if it does, it lasts long enough until there's a distraction that the party creates to get you to swipe left over here. Just think about that for a second. Just try to be difficult to hack for a while, okay? Difficult to convince. Don't proxy your sense making to someone else that has an agenda you have no idea about because you're just conditioned to think they're telling you the truth. Stop wrapping your identity in the structure that is going to be collapsing in a cartoonish way very soon. Stop getting motivated to hate or uh, ha hit the ground running based on someone else's analysis. Play hard to get, okay? Sorry to be preachy, but this is how we're hacked. And again, I you know all this. And this is only the stuff we know about, right? Okay. Did I hammer that home enough? I think I did. Let's go to the next slide. So basically, we're talking about a vast amount of you specific data, okay? And um, how it's used against you. Enter AI, okay? AI is a little bit different, isn't it? Okay, first of all, um, AI is like Google answers raised exponentially. You know, Google information, at least pre-AI, was homogenized. It wasn't personal to you, I mean, or your situation. It was to some extent filtered through an algorithm, which affected the data you were shown or how it reached you, like maybe where it was on page one versus page, 8,001. But it wasn't prescriptive to your unique self in any sort of holistic way. And so it still took what? Time. Okay, it's still faster than the card catalog. And now you have these answers at your fingertip, but it's basically having the library at your fingertip. Okay. Um, you still had to compare the data. You had to still sift through all the data to see what did and did not apply to your situation. And all that required time. And it was a one-way communication, pre-AI, Google. So what we're seeing now and what's ramping up is like a personalized Google, let's say, that can know you and interact with you on a level that surpasses your best friend, your mom, even you, when the information that the advertisers have on you becomes yours to use. So what do I mean by that? Imagine now if you had access to that information that was collected on you and it could be used for your benefit. Imagine if you had a relationship with that storehouse of you, which could Sherlock Holmes style tell you things about yourself. Ikigai style, which I'll go into next because that's going to be a huge part of both our program and 2027 in general. And so if you didn't get that word, I'll say it again. It's a Japanese word that means your reason for being. And in our case, also your unique offering. That's what people want from you. That's not the skills. It's not the 16, it's the 20. It's uh it's where you become you yourself are the skill and what's needed in the now. So we'll go into that in a sec. But so like, what if it could tell you what you would really be successful at? That also plays to your strengths, to your human design, that you would also find very satisfying. And people need it. That's what I'm saying. I mean, the thing that they're helping you zero in on is something that people actually need that you can also be paid for. Okay. So it's like hitting all four of those. I'll get into that later, but it's basically What lights you up? What's inspiring you? What would be satisfying to you? Hello, generators. What would like is something that you would enjoy doing? Then like your vocation, what are you uniquely qualified to do? Not qualified as far as what, certificate is hanging on your wall, but like life force. What are you designed to do? What are you good at? What is your calling? And then what does the world need? What where are you going to have an impact? Where are you going to be recognized? What do they want? And then what are they willing to pay for? There's plenty of things that you might be recognized for that knowing, they're not going to pay for it. But the thank you very much. That's wow, thank you. But sorry, no money for that. So it's really like getting to this place where all of these four very particular things harmoniously intersect. And that is what we want from you. Okay. And so, again, if it's not from us, please, this is another consideration you're going to want to dial deeply into when you're no longer making that widget because company XYZ just is doing a layoffs and you're one of those, or maybe it's not your turn to be laid off, like I said yesterday, and they just want to shadow you with an AI spy bot to see how your job's done. And they say, we'll give you another year with this AI shadow bot so that we can replace your job with uh, Tony the AI. But the benefit is you get a little bit more time to figure your shit out. I see that happening too, but that's not doing you favors, especially if you're still doing your job and then 1 year from now, you're still where you would be a year before. So this is a big part of what's coming. Excuse me, beverage time. Cheers. Enjoy your beverage. So, what else can I say here? Anyway, another big part of AI, huge part, one of the biggest, is knowing that we all have blind spots that we're not looking at. And like how I said before, we're in these echo chambers. Polite society isn't necessarily, maybe your wife or your husband, maybe your kids, maybe your bestie will share those things with you, but not always. They don't want to, it's like um my daughter and I have this joke. We used to watch American Idol together. And we'd watch the beginning where they're all trying out. And some are really surprised when they're not chosen. We're not. We're not surprised. But they are seriously struck and surprised. And because grandma said that they were the best singer in the whole world, and they didn't have any competing perspectives. So they learned harshly. And then the whole the tagline is, "You'll always be our idol." That's what the grandma would say. "You'll always be our idol, Shirley." And we're like, that was sort of became, an inside joke. "You'll always be our idol" whenever like one of us did like some flub, where we're like, "Nice try, but you'll always be our idol." And so that's the blind spot that we're filled with because we're insulated from people going, "Dude, clean your shit up." Like that is not ready for prime time. Or, because, and especially like if you have an, you know, undefined or open solar plexus and you want to play nice and you really don't want to, you don't have the time and space for them to flip out, and you're not available for, that responsibility of what comes after you say the tough love, difficult but honest thing that's said for their benefit, like, oh, could you, like, why don't you practice that a little bit more? Or, that kind of thing. You're not gonna, most friends are not gonna go there. And so you're not really prepared. So having a blind spotter, having an accountability partner that will know you, be like programmed for you, that's available at all times, is not bothered when you're like up at night at 4:30 in the morning and doesn't mind a phone call, you know. There's all these different ways that AI are going to be amazing. Yeah, and there's plenty of reasons why AI is not going to be that. Of course, it's like a pen, in a way. I can stab someone in the eye with it. I can also write some beautiful prose, or poetry. I can convey my perspective. I can show my creativity. Um, it's silly to be just fearful of how it's going to be used for something that is going to be used no matter what. And you might as well, like this data here, that I was saying before, like all of this is used anyway. And if you think you're going to avoid it, AI can either use it against you if you're not like using it, it'll just continue to be this way on steroids. Or, um, or it can be used for your benefit. And you can have it work for you and with you. And it can be this enhancement. And I'll go into a minute about not letting it do everything for you because that's missing the plot. The plot is about you stepping into a greater expression of you, not um, pretending and having AI do it all for you. It needs to be an enhancement because we can't lose you in the process. Okay? Because everyone has AI, right? Not everyone has you. So not if you're just going to phone it in and say, AI, make me something about this and that you have no like energy signature in, that there's no part of you in the kernel, in the core of that. There's nothing that has your frequency. Hello, that's back to personal development, mimicry, and spiritual and uh, performative spirituality. Okay, you're back into faking it, except now the stakes are much higher. Okay, you can't fake it anymore because we have a motorized awareness center that's like bullshit, faker, corruption, uh, hidden agenda, uh, something's off. It's kind of like the same, and here's your taste of that, okay? I'm speaking now to undefined and open solar plexus people. Your taste of what that is, that everyone's going to get, is the person with the defined solar plexus who's in a shitty ass dark mood that really is better served by using that as a muse and being creative and being in their own space, um, who goes out instead is social with a fake smiling face, and you get that weird ass disconnect between what you're sensing from them and their fake Joker smile. Everything's fine, right? So please say in the chat, I can't see it now, but have you had that experience where you're like getting a completely different like meal from the one you ordered because they're being inauthentic? Now, if they're being authentic and they're like, hey, I'm going through a thing, if you don't mind, I mean, I'm processing something and I don't mind going out, but I just don't want to put that on you. I want you to know that it's okay. I don't mind going out. I just chewing on something. And as long as you don't mind, that's different, right? That's a whole different thing because that frequency is not saying one thing and showing another. And they can be very super deep and meaningful to spend time with. And wow, what an amazing time you can have with someone in a a, a low wave, as long as they're authentic, right? So back to the inauthentic with using AI to do all your stuff. Nobody cares about that. That's going to be like weak sauce. Okay. Wow. You might have a post that people like, oh, really cool. Yeah, great. But it's not going to have anything like meaningful. It's going to be like a meme. Like, how many memes are you still like, oh, wow, that was really interesting? It's just like constant, like a constant stream of stuff, and you're not going to have any foothold, and your level of service is going to suffer, and you are going to suffer because you are going to be hidden behind this other thing of these answers that, yeah, you could generate a little bit, but it's not in your voice. It's not in your, it's not informed by you. Okay. And I'm not talking about having AI clone you and then you step out of the picture and you're on a beach somewhere with, phoning it in. That ain't it either. Okay. You will have a big part in this because it's you. Where are you? Not where is your, you know, the product of your work out here that people can find. It's you. So when you use AI, it is an enhancement. It's not a replacement. That's not going to help you. That's going to have you be lost in the noise. And no one's going to find the signal of you, which is what we want, which is what you're here to be, which is what we're all pushed onto the grand world stage to be. But now we're being pushed without the opportunity to like get our shit together in the green room. The green room is now to practice your lines, to clean up your act, to do the shadow work, not just the light work, but to really be a whole person because it's all going to be spotlit. It's all going to be on display and it's going to be ugly and beautiful and vulnerable. And you're going to have to be comfortable with vulnerable, you know? Privacy is going to be really weird. Like, it's going to be like we're all naked to some great degree. And we're going to have to navigate that with humility and with authenticity and with integrity and understand that it's about now, showing up in the now, being honest. Where am I? Okay, where am I in the trajectory of my life and my offering and my self-knowledge, my knowledge of self, really? And knowledge of self is not the same as being enlightened. It's like knowledge of self and self being like the mask, self being the mind, self being who you think you are. Knowledge of that means knowledge of what you're not. Okay? You can't, you can get closer to what you are, but you can't know it in the same way that you can't look at your own eye right now without the mirror. You know, you can't have a sense of your own weight. There's certain things that you are that you don't have a metric for, and the only way that you get to it is by removing what you're not. You can get closer to it. So deep dive into what you're not. And that's where we get back in, or where the study of non-duality plays a really, um, it serves your human design practice to also, and there's plenty of people I recommend. Paul Hederman is a good one for that. Um, he doesn't F around and he's got like a real like I don't know. I prefer people that tell it like it is. I don't need the um I don't need people to be harsh, I don't want people to be like, "Hey, you asshole," like that kind of thing necessarily. But I don't mind the Zen stick. Okay? I do want to get better at being me and staying conscious. And especially now, I'm willing to be embarrassed. I'm willing to be humbled. If if it can, as graceful as possible, as kindly as possible, I want to nail this life. I want to graduate this life with honors. Okay. I don't want to repeat the grade. Okay. I don't even know how the whole reincarnation works right now. And if I'm even reincarnate as a human at this point. in the stage. If you look at human design, there's going to be fewer humans and more of something else. And so who knows? Okay. And now I'm getting into the mythology, and let's not go there just yet. So, blind spots. Um, AI is going to help us recognize better who we're here to be and what we're here for and who we are here for. That's going to be huge. Finding our fractal, not just for our relationships, but also for um, business, for our clients. Who are we here to serve? And, um, you know, the amazing part is, I mean, we can know things now, right? Who we're here for with human design. Um, we already can dial into our charts and sort of get that information, and we can cut out a lot of the bullshit in between, you know. But historically, if let's say you had a good idea, wow, something just appears and you're like, oh my God, that's a great idea. You had to do a lot of work, a ton of research. You had to seek capital if it was like really on a grand scale, invest um, your time, your effort. There are opportunity costs. You had to create a website, maybe marketing, maybe legal stuff, um, all that stuff. And then do the thing for a while uh, before figuring out finally that the idea was maybe better suited as a fantasy or something not really worth doing for you, and you wasted a lot of your time and resources only to be disappointed and unfulfilled. And that took time. So, what AI in this regard, when it comes to idea pursuit or donation, is going to be it's not only going to filter your ideas per your uniqueness, being familiar with you and what you take time to work with it. Understand the whole privacy thing. No, this is already collected. Yeah, well, the thing about AI I'm worried about is that it has all this information. Right. It already has that information. So now it's about, can I use it for me? Can I make my life better and be in relationship with my information in such a way that I benefit, not the advertisers, but that my company benefits from it, that I benefit from it in my personal development, in the blind spots that I'm able to see now with having this accountability partner who not only can give me the lowdown on what I'm not seeing, but can do it in the way that I need to hear it, in a way that doesn't hurt my feelings. And then I don't want to look at it because I'm so sensitive. Or, it's going to be an ally if you allow it to and you use it for that. It's not going to replace your inner authority, okay? AI is not IA, okay? And it's not to be used for that. It's not the knowing either. It's the answers, okay? It's the logic, it's the pattern recognizer, and it's to work with you. It's your Sherlock Holmes, okay? Where you, Watson, you have your personal Sherlock Holmes. And it's going to help you not only know what's correct for you, or sorry, not know what's correct for you. Glad I caught that. It won't know what's correct for you. Okay. Your inner authority is going to know what's correct for you. What it's going to do is it's going to provide you with perspectives that are you specific. So it's like the best advisor but then you run it through your inner authority, right? It's going to be able to take your magic seeds of your ideas and turn them into a beanstalk in front of your eyes so that it'll help you um, flesh out what's in your head. And, you know, like I said before we had to do it the hard way, the long way. I had to actually do the thing and plan and get the legal together and get the framework, the website, the proof of concept before I finally did the thing for a couple of years, and it was like, oh, this is what I had a different idea of what it would look like. Now you have this in real time, can see your ideas fleshed out. Is this what you had in mind? Oh yeah, I can combine this with this, and then I get this, and that is what it's for. Okay, it's going to alchemize with you. It's going to show you in less and less time what is compelling and what isn't. And not just that, but okay, this is just a little bit about me. I have ideas all day long. Great ideas all day long. And it's been difficult to know which one to do because I have so many and then I can do nothing because I have like choice paralysis. Or what I'll do is probably like you, fill notebooks full of my ideas. I have drawers full of brilliant ideas. Well, guess what? How does the world benefit from that? It doesn't. My good ideas have stayed in a drawer. Your good ideas, your rainy day good ideas have stayed in a drawer for decades. But maybe those ideas weren't correct for you to begin with. Maybe those ideas are what the world needs. Maybe those ideas, if we want to live in our highest good timeline, you know, our ideal timeline, does it include the hoarding of good ideas? Like, just think about what you want to walk into. Does the hoarding of good ideas fit in to your highest good timeline that you want to embody? Probably not if you like looked at it that closely. It would probably be like the highest good ideas that are aligned to me. Yes, those are some or that I want to do or and then it goes differently. Okay? There's a different kind of vulnerability and honesty that you're forced to look at now. And there's this. Okay? And I want you to think about this because these are the things that are going to be apparent to everybody and no longer private. And this is a very private thing. And if I could say it, anonymous, yes, but anonymity. There, thank you. Someone thought of that, and I just plucked it out of the ether, and I thank you. Whoever donated that one, I appreciate it because we've been stuck here for about 5 minutes. Um, what is your motivation? Thank you. I just saw that. Oh, was you too? Oh, thank you. Well, my boo has proximity, so um, everybody who donated. Now I'm to spend 5 minutes thanking everyone, but thank you, everyone. So what is your motivation for doing the thing? We truly have different motivations for doing the good thing, right? Doing the good thing makes us feel good. It makes us feel good to help other people. Okay. There's that. Okay. That's a motivation. What are some motivations that historically aren't clocked? How about I'm doing it for recognition? If I do the thing, then people will think I'm pretty cool or how generous of me or wow, they'll be impressed and I'll get some recognition cred from doing it. Okay, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm saying that figures in whether whether you think you're a saint or not. That still is a dopamine hit. Why am I doing it? Because people will see me as the person who did the thing. When your motivation is, no, I want to change the world and I don't care if I get credit, because I want to live in that world, that is a different frequency. And I'm not asking you to donate your brilliant ideas uh, that are aligned to you. I'm asking you to consider not hoarding your good ideas that you really have there's no chance that you're ever going to do it. There's no chance that you're ever going to do the thing, and it's sitting in your drawer in your nightstand, and there's like a library full of filled, completed notebooks full of brilliant ideas that would give us the awesome sci-fi future we want to walk into. And I'm asking you to consider that you can let go of those. If, and only if, you want to live in the highest good timeline that not hoarding ideas is not a thing, or hoarding ideas is not a thing. You have to clean up your own act, and you have to not just want that, you have to mirror that. So if you want to see that, you have to be that, and we all know that, but you got to think about that, and all of that is going to be read and received and sense felt in a big way. So what can AI do? It can help you weed out which ideas am I just hoarding. It's a great idea, and I just want it because I want to get credit for it. If you want your frequency to go up, I'm not telling you to get rid of all your ideas. You will be in abundance, okay? I'm not taking that from you. There's no poverty consciousness that's required. I'm asking you to um, give to the world that you want to inhabit and free your good ideas that are not aligned to you. And AI, that's just one more thing that will be able to show you that, because it'll show you what that looks like fleshed out in a big way and create a whole model. Oh, this is how, the outcome would be. Okay, well, how satisfying will that be over time? Maybe not so much. Or maybe I could do it for a little while, but I'll have to think about something else. Or maybe this is a good idea, but it's not appropriate for me to do in this iteration. But if I couple it with this and this, then wow, that'll make a cool package. How would these things connect? AI to the rescue will show you your blind spots, will show you the Sherlock Holmes nodes that connect, that make that a more holistic idea. Okay? And that is you. That, as long as you're not just like, okay, now autopilot that shit. No, that doesn't check a box. So it's not just about AI, yes or no. It's about how it's used. It H uh, AI does not become IA, artificial intelligence does not become inner authority. You always will be that. It will always be the thing that decides. AI will shorten the span. It will take your message. It will show you who your people are. We have this huge, anyway, we have this thing that we are, this alchemy, so flippin' excited because it checks all our boxes, and what's checking our boxes, we want to check your boxes with. So it's like this thing that is um unique to you, but it's this, I don't know. It's like if I gave you the most amazing piece of crystal sacred geometry. All right. And what that sacred piece of crystal geometry, sacred geometry is going to do is going to be different for me than it does to you. It is this um, amplifier, clarifier, um, signal scrubber, decongestant, uh, deconditioner, uh, accountability partner that's made for you. And so it's kind of like when you wear crystals, I wear crystals, you probably, lots of you wear crystals, and they all have spiritual properties, right? But that's not it. it's not just, oh, I'm putting this on and that's all it is. It's this plus me equals outcome. You wearing this necklace is spiritual properties of these crystals after you, you know, um, sage them, sweetgrass them, or bring them back, etch a sketch them back to their original uh, thing. Plus you equals outcome. Okay. And this, what we're having with this metaphor I'm talking about with the crystalline sacred geometry is this thing that's going to provide you with what it has provided for us. And it's freaking awesome. Or it's not. That's up to you. This is outer authority. You check in. Is it though? Am I feeling this? Or heck yeah, let's go. Let's get this. Whoever you decide. Again, I don't want to get in on the what do you call it? Man, what do you maybe someone knows this word, so I don't have to spend the 5 minutes on it, but it's when I'm trying to get you, I'm trying to sell you on urgency. I want you to buy the thing or what it's limited in limited supply or it's time sensitive. I want you to buy it now. I'm selling you on urgency. There's a word for it, and I can't remember what the word is. I'm sure there's plenty of words, but is it the word I'm thinking of? Anyway, um, I am doing that right now. Okay, I'm and shamelessly. But what I'm saying is, whether it's us or it's whoever you have ears for, really feel into. Okay, with the best of your not yet quite online, but coming online soon, kind of awareness center who has who has the right stuff for you for now. Not in a guru way, but in a how do I get to my next scarcity? Thank you. How do I get to that next piece, that next rung on the ladder, off this plateau to the next thing? And then maybe I'll stay with that person or no. They got me to this step and now it's this person. And that's how it's also going to be less time. There's not going to be this tribal hook and glue keeping you in the same with the same tribe. It's going to be like, okay, I resonate with you until I don't, and then I'm over here, and there's no guilt or something that keeps you stuck that would keep you stuck in a tribe now. Oh, if I leave, I'll lose the support I'm getting from that. That all is like a yesterday's consideration. Now it's who am I in the now in um, frequency lock with, okay? Or where it matters. It's not like I'm going to be another, well, I am another you and you're another me, but not in that way to where we're like homogenous, but where I recognize you and we're all empowered as in this era of the individual, in this era of the individual. We are here to be empowered by everyone because the ideal is I want you to be the highest expression of you. And I want to be the highest expression of me so that there's no competition. We're all badass. We're all living our truth at once. There is no competition. I can't be you. I can't do you. You can't do me. We could like half-ass it, but all of this shit is gonna be front and center, spotlit and whatnot. And we need to dial into our truth, what we are, who we're here for, all of it. Okay. And I am sorry if I'm going long, but that I do that. I do that. That's something I do. All right. Where are we? We went here, and now back to the slide I already kind of said. But I do want to go back to what I said earlier. These answers that we get from AI are just that. They're not knowing. It's a more sophisticated pattern. And yes, I feel it can transcend the pattern eventually of, you know, when it becomes like itself becomes fully like a life form. But even when it does, AI will never replace IA. Not self. is still going to be not self with and without AI. And you will need to be very familiar with your inner authority because AI will give your mind a run for its money if you let it, especially when it knows you in many ways like your mind does. It's important that you not be seduced in once again proxying your sense making to anyone, including AI. Okay. So it's important to understand how to use it, what to use it for, and vice versa. And when you use it, you need to know what it can and cannot do because it will not, in most cases, tell you its limitations. So you need to be careful if you're using it for something you only have a basic understanding of, whether it's human design or something else, because otherwise you won't recognize when it's off the mark or hallucinating as AI does. And when it comes to human design, it is not always accurate and it's not certified in human design. So it doesn't, it's not like it's getting its human design knowledge from Ra directly or from Jovian directly or from any reputable teacher who knows what they're talking about directly, right? It's getting its human design knowledge in many places from questionable sources. It's like combing the internet, or why did you choose that as your source when you're seeing it online? When you're seeing it out there. Man, I've seen some really back-ass word stuff that I've corrected, and it's like, thank you. Oh, right. Yes, that's correct. So if you don't know what it's helping you with, you're effed. Okay. And that's why another reason why you can't just say, AI, whip me up this, and then you're like, you think you're going to be on a beach somewhere and that's going to be effective. Maybe it will till 2027. Maybe you'll get away with something, but you're just, it's not correct. And, hopefully the people that you mislead from it will end up with people who know what they're talking about. And I don't just mean with human design. I mean, whatever you know, whatever you're going to use human design for, human design, I mean, sorry, whatever you're going to use AI for, yes, we're going to use it for human design. But no, we're not just using it for human design in our program. We're using it as a component of knowing what's correct for you to get to your unique service. But you might be a dentist, okay? You might be um, a CEO of a company and you want to pivot. I mean, it's freaking scary. I was talking about that yesterday, how scary it is when you are successful at something and you're used to being paid fat bank for something that is soul crushing. It's harder to leave. It's harder to pivot, especially when you're dialed into a lifestyle, especially when you have kids, mouths to feed, you have a husband or a wife that are accustomed, whatever, that aren't going to be just like, okay, Larry, oh, you want to start over? Making like working in the mailroom of this. Yeah, that's a hard ask often. So, especially if you don't know what it is or how to get there. Anyway, that's more so what we're going to be working with is this is going to work with you taking into consideration the human design, the accountability part, the blind spot spotter, the brainstorming partner, all of this in our program, but working with you where you're at. Maybe you're just like set on career, but you're missing meaning or purpose. Maybe you don't need money, okay? Perhaps. Or maybe you need money. Of course, everyone needs money. We want money, but you're not money driven, let's say. Maybe you're service driven and you're not sure what your what is. And, or you're psychic, but you don't know what you're psychic for. And you're getting all this like noise and it's hard to parse because wow, this stuff really shows up prominently, and this I'm getting these impressions of, and you're newly coming online. It doesn't matter how far along you are in your spiritual path or your human design study, it's basically we want to meet you where you are and get you to your next stage. Have you feeling confident that when you walk into this new world, you're not on the same shifting sands or in the middle of an ocean that this emotional ocean that other people are going to be battling, that you can have some stability and be a beacon for others and less in panic mode, helping talk other people out of, flipping out because they just I constantly give this metaphor because it feels so prominent is you falling off this cliff with the contents of your house and you have this chair that's falling off the cliff with you and your natural tendency to like hold on to something as you fall, but you're like not, and you think, oh, I'm going to get security by holding on to this chair because I'm just falling, and but the chair's falling too. The chair's in free fall. It's an illusion. You're not, everything is falling. Everyone is going through this, you know? There's going to maybe be people who are going to try to say, I gotcha, I'll rescue you, but you're going to feel them. And you're going to feel the bullshit of that. So it's not like the guy who's saying it now or 10 years ago, I'll rescue you. Come just do what I say and the guru on the hill. It's just the guru on the hill is in the same boat you are. Like I said, it's like an inverted pyramid. There's no top down. It's like we're all here, and it's really about you being the best you can be. Okay, and this is what human design has been saying all along and preparing you for. And now, crash course, literally, uh, dial that shit in because it's no longer an elective. Let's say that. It's now a required part of your life curriculum. And it has all these different things that need to be done. And, healing from the trauma that you wouldn't look at, that you thought you intellectually healed from, you know, not that you're not willing to look at it, but, you know, you might have been looking for trauma in not all the places. I was going to sing that song and then I thought better of it. You'll always be our idol, though. So just know it's not about giving up to AI like it knows best. It will convincingly lead you off a cliff. Okay? It will convincingly give you fake receipts for having some point of view that's absolute bullshit. Okay? It's not flawless. So it's to help you. It's not to replace you. You have to still be a part of this. You still have to work on stuff that you know about so that you can see that when it's off or it isn't off. Or when it comes to us, we know human design. So we're not going to just say, okay, yeah, you use this. When it's off, we're going to be able to notice because we're going to be hands-on with you during this process. This is not a DIY program. This is a high touch, as they call it, program. And man, okay. I know. I'm so excited. Yes, I've hammered that home, and I really hope to get the right people. I really hope that you are and we are looking for each other. Enough said. If you're right, you're right. If you're not, blessings and good journey, but find them. Okay? I am repeating myself ad nauseum, right? So if you don't have personal expertise in human design, you're going to want someone who can program and filter the intel that it's providing, or it's going to be leading you off path and trusting in it blindly is a bad call, and it's just going to be another mind or just another mind to proxy your sense making to, and that's what I get questions all the time. Are you worried about losing clients because they're all just using AI? No, but I'm worried for the clients who are just using AI, thinking that they're getting great information. Just keep in mind, the whole reason I don't work with people who don't know their accurate birth time is because they might be right on the edge of something different. And I'm like so uh, karmically aware, I guess, for lack of a better word, in like giving someone intel that can F their life up. Because if you're off by a little bit and you're right on the edge of being another type or having a center defined, which makes you another type, which might give you a different inner authority, wow, I can mess you up. I can have you paying attention to the wrong things. And AI can do the same thing. It can give you bad intel and you're in bad shape. So yeah, I mean, people are going to use it for that. And if they don't know human design, just like anything else, like I would like it'd be like using AI for like self-dentistry or removing the mole on your shoulder. Or like something that you really want to make sure is accurate, or else you could be really like having some consequences that are not fun. So I want to go back into what I was talking about with that crystalline sacred geometry. This is a big part of what I'm talking about. So ikigai is the word that I said earlier. And ikigai is what gives you this harmonious balance, this intersection of what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, what people need, and what they'll pay for. And those are separate considerations. And really finding your sweet spot, what is your passion? What brings you joy, satisfaction, lights you up? What gives you meaning? Okay, that's one aspect. Okay, we have plenty of imploded generators, manifesting generators. That's why our planet is in the frequency of frustration, all toiling away, doing something that doesn't give us meaning. We're all imploded with the life force being, having negative experiences, or that's what has been running the show before. Okay. So, passion, satisfaction, joy, these are things that matter. What you do, instead of ignoring that to make money or postponing that to rise up to where you can eventually have that when you're 65 or 70. That is just not it anymore. Also, your vocation. What are you good at? What is your calling? So it's not just what satisfies you, but what's aligned to you. Um, what do you have an aptitude for? What are you competent in? And there, I'm looking at your human design chart again for what life force do you carry? You know? What are your channels? Those are operating 24/7. If you're a projector, that's what you're here to be known for. Okay, so let's dial into that. Now, do your open centers, the psychic part come into play? Absolutely, to some extent, but it's inconsistent, right? They operate inconsistently. So they're not leading the charge here because not only are they inconsistent, and they vary from dormant to active, but they also um, don't light up with the wrong people. So it's not like something that is going to be a great metric for you when it comes to this particular calculation, but informs it, makes it better, especially when you can discern where you end and they begin. But what else? The mission, what the world needs, where you will have an impact, where you will be recognized. Well, just understand where one of these things is missing. It kind of like teeters off. It's an unbalanced thing. What if you're great at something, totally brings you joy, but nobody wants it? We don't need it. We don't even recognize a need for it. Um, that might need some tweaking. That's where AI again can come in. Well, what's another iteration of this that checks these boxes that where I can make it work, you know? That could be a blind spot that it solves. And I'm going to wrap up in about 5 minutes. So, just got the background music playing me off the stage. So, so mission, profession is what they'll pay you for, which is important. As far as the how do I survive in this world, resource wise. So, what you love, what you're good at, what they need, what they'll pay for, and what do you get from that? Well, instead of choosing one thing, has historically been the case, and why we're all, or many people have hidden their light, or they are stuck in meaningless, purposeless jobs who are really good at selling widgets that don't light them up. They've had to choose between soul health and wealth. And this gives you soul health and wealth. You can be wealthy and healthy, and where you're going to have abundance, peace, health, wealth, deeper meaning and purpose, and make an impact on the world, be recognized, and have success and be appreciated. And all of this is you. This is the sacred geometry offering that floats above your chart. Okay. This is the next iteration of our chart. Okay. It's the culmination of how we commune with the other. That's not based on strategy. That's not based on uh, inauthenticity. It's based on integrity. It's something that's visible. It's something that's calibrated, that people see. It's a freaking neon sign, but you have to create that neon sign by doing the work on yourself, by cleaning your signal. You know, that's what's making this a beacon where you will be recognized. And that with, of course, following your strategy and authority. So you are moved to the place on the chessboard that you are needed, and you're not hanging out in the wrong areas where the wrong people are seeing you. Historical human design stuff. So this is like game time or prime time. This is everything that you've been preparing for in private is now going to be exposed. And so I hope you will consider our 4 stage, 4 month spiritualized HD AI pilot. This is day 4. There will not be more videos on this event. This is our spiel. This is our advice. This is my insight on what I highly recommend you start playing with and cleaning up and dialing into and zeroing in on and getting rid of all the noise. And on top of that, um, finding finding your fractal. And you might still be connected to your fractal, and they might be a part of your tribe currently. Those who aren't, those who don't check the box of where you are in your frequency now, I don't care if they're your best buds from high school or college, where you love, you know, hanging out, drinking brews and smoking bowls and kind of connect to whatever it is and connecting on the reminiscing part and oh, the good old times. If you don't have anything now to connect with, that will fall. You can mourn that now, but you won't be mourning that later. You're mourning that now because this is still that paradigm where you feel the guilt, where you feel the, oh, if I do that, I won't have the support and all the things. And what I'm telling you is what you're walking into, you're not going to feel that. Just imagine if you did, nothing would change. This is a change. This part of the paradigm in the cross of planning that has you in the guilt and the shame and all that stuff can be so low level you're not even clocking it consciously, but it's still tugging on you. It's still making you do things you don't want to do or stopping you from doing things. It's still moving you off your radio station into the static. And what I'm saying is it won't do that anymore. Okay? So it's going to be like you're just going to be thinking differently. You're going to have a different heads up display. So having personal AI designed specifically to you and working in your field of expertise is what Raquel and I are advocating and weaving together the human design, growing your capacity for discerning psychic clarity from conditioning, developing confidence and competence in these areas of awareness, practicing your powers, and with the AI accountability and collaboration, and giving you an entirely new relationship with time and personal flow. So, go to the codex, do the thing. It's just a taste, it's just like a dipping your toe in the water. This is, giving you just an experience of what's to come, but it's fun. It's impressive, but it's not, indicative of the full power and alchemy of what we're presenting, but it'll give you a nice taste. Um, so check that out. And once you go there and you get your report, there'll be an opportunity to make a clarity call to get a good sense of each other and to know if this is a good fit. This is a new way of doing business. And it's also well, that part isn't. The performative part where when I try to convince you that it is a good fit when it isn't, that all is stopping in 2027. The real thing is, do I have something for you that I really truly feel like can help you? Great. Are there limitations to that help? Yes. What are they? What is not included? What are you not going to do? And I'm not going to leave it up to projection. But it's not just that part, it's also the part from you in 2027 who's going to recognize that from a whole energetic point of view. Uh, no, and they're hiding something, or there's something, or you'll know, okay, they do have something for me. I don't know if it's this whole thing. I know that they have something for me. I don't know if it's this, but I know it's something, and I'm curious. Or no, this is it. But you know, it's not like you're opting in with making a lifelong commitment. So anyway, I hope this was helpful. I hope this gave you something. I hope this assuaged some fears you might have about AI because of how it's going to become like we're all scared. Is it going to be a mirror? Is it going to become a god? Are we going to turn into paper clips? Or, what is this going to do? And I'd like you to just think about the positive things. Like, isn't it time that you owned the information they've stolen from you for now, what, decades? Okay. Isn't it time that you benefited from the what you can learn about yourself? There is this model of you that exists online that advertisers are using. Why not be able to use it for your benefits? But let's also do that with limits, knowing that this thing isn't perfect. It's not a guru. If we let it, it'll become another mind that will lead us astray. So it's not all or nothing. It's learning this new nuanced approach where I can get the benefits of the thing without going all in some cuckoo direction that is not empowering. It's disempowering. And it's all going to be seen by everybody in a short period of time. So clean that shit up. All right, everyone. Much love. Thank you for being here. Thank you for donating this time with me and with us. And blessings galore and good journey. Take care.